Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest and greatest in technology and gadgets. So get ready to buckle up because today, we're going supersonic. Remember the Concorde, right?
Yeah.
That sleek, speedy bird that could cross the Atlantic in a flash. Well, supersonic travel,
Yeah.
it might be making a comeback. And today, we're doing a deep dive into the company making it happen, Boom Supersonic.
Boom Supersonic. What's really fascinating about this is that they're not just trying to recreate the Concorde. They're aiming to build on that legacy while also tackling, the issues that led to its downfall, like cost and noise.
Right. And they have this test plane, the XB-1, nicknamed Baby Boom, which is the only civilian supersonic jet currently flying. It's already completed 11 test flights and is getting ready to break the sound barrier. I was lucky enough to visit their facility in Mojave, California. And the energy there, it's palpable. It's like everyone's buzzing with anticipation for what's next.
Oh, I bet. And that anticipation is understandable because XB-1 is just the precursor to their flagship airliner, Overture, which is designed to cruise at a mind-blowing Mach 1.7. That's twice the speed of sound, imagine. Hopping on a plane in New York and then landing in London just over 3 hours later. That's what they're aiming for.
That's insane. It would revolutionize travel as we know it. But how are they tackling the challenges that grounded the Concorde, like fuel efficiency, for example?
One key innovation is their Symphony engine, and it's designed with sustainability in mind, aiming for greater fuel efficiency than previous supersonic engines.
It's not just about speed then. It's about responsible innovation too. That's awesome. I also learned something really surprising from their test pilot, apparently breaking the sound barrier. Isn't this dramatic, earth-shattering experience you might imagine? He said it's actually quite anticlimactic for the pilots.
Oh, really? Well, from a pilot's perspective, that actually makes a lot of sense because they rely on instruments to confirm when they've hit supersonic speed, not the sound. So it's more about the data than the feeling in that moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I bet there's still a ton of meticulous testing and fine-tuning involved, right?
Oh, absolutely. Remember that phenomenon called flutter? It's basically when vibrations caused by air hitting the plane's structure become unstable at high speeds, and if that's not addressed, it can be catastrophic.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember reading about that. So they increase speed in small increments during testing to make sure the aircraft can handle it. It's just fascinating how much science and engineering goes into making something like this possible.
It really is. And speaking of history, the Mojave airspace where these tests are happening is legendary. This is where Chuck Yeager first broke the sound barrier back in 1947. So it's boom, Supersonic is writing the next chapter in aviation history right in the same spot. And get this, they're planning to live stream the XB-1 breaking the sound barrier thanks to Starlink integration on the Chase aircraft. Talk about a front row seat to history.
That's incredible. It feels like we're on the cusp of a whole new era of travel. But let's be real. This kind of technology, it probably won't be cheap, right?
Yeah, you're right. Initially, ticket prices will likely be high. It is a premium experience, but just like with any new technology, the goal is to make it more accessible over time.
So maybe one day supersonic flights will be within reach for more than just the super rich. That would be amazing.
Exactly. Speaking of experiencing supersonic flight, you mentioned you visited their facility. Did you get to try out their XB-1 flight simulator?
Oh, I did. And I even managed to take it supersonic. The feeling of acceleration was unreal. But let's just say my landing was a bit rough.
Landing a supersonic jet is no easy feat, even in a simulator. I bet it was still an incredible experience, though.
Oh, it was. It truly gave me a taste of what supersonic flight is like. And it made me wonder, would you actually pay for a ticket on a supersonic flight?
Oh, if I could afford it. In a heartbeat. I mean, the thought of shaving hours off transatlantic flights is incredibly appealing. Plus, I really admire Boom's commitment to sustainability and making this technology more accessible in the future. It feels like they're not just chasing speed, but trying to make a positive impact.
Totally. It's like they're taking the best aspects of the Concorde and addressing its shortcomings for a new generation. Speaking of making it accessible, they're actually ramping up production at their new super factory, aiming to build a whopping 33 Overture aircraft per year.
Wow, that's ambitious. But it shows that they're serious about making this a viable mode of transportation, not just a novelty. Now, thinking beyond just transatlantic flights, imagine the possibilities for other long-haul routes. Business travel, international relations. Faster travel could change the game in so many ways.
Oh yeah, you're right. It could really shrink the world in a way we haven't seen since. Well, the Concorde, it makes you wonder how industries would adapt, how cities would connect, even how we perceive distance.
Absolutely. It's not just about getting from point A to point B faster. It's about the ripple effects on global commerce, tourism, cultural exchange. It's like opening up a whole new dimension of connectivity.
It's mind-blowing to think about, honestly. And it's happening right here, right now. We might be witnessing the beginning of a supersonic revolution. But it does make you wonder.
What's that?
Well, we've talked about the benefits, the potential impact, but what about the drawbacks? I mean, are there any downsides to bringing back supersonic travel?
That's a great question. And there are definitely factors to consider. One of the biggest concerns is the sonic boom. You know that loud thunderclap-like sound a plane makes when it breaks the sound barrier?
Right. I remember reading that the Concorde was restricted from flying supersonic over land because of the noise complaints.
Exactly. And it's not just about annoyance. Sonic booms can potentially damage property and disrupt wildlife. Boom is working on mitigating this with new aircraft designs and by focusing on over-ocean routes. But it's still a hurdle they need to clear.
So it sounds like there's still some challenges to overcome, even with all the advancements they've made.
Definitely. Another consideration is the environmental impact. Even with more efficient engines, supersonic travel still consumes more fuel per passenger than subsonic flights. So there's an ongoing debate about its sustainability, especially as we strive to reduce carbon emissions.
That's a valid point. It seems like there's this delicate balance between pushing technological boundaries and being responsible stewards of our planet.
Absolutely. But I think it's important to remember that progress often involves navigating complex trade-offs. And in this case, the potential benefits of faster, more efficient travel have to be weighed against the potential environmental costs. It's a conversation that needs to happen.
Yeah, you're right. And it's a conversation we're having right here, right now on Byte-Sized Tech. We've explored the excitement, the innovation, and now the challenges of bringing back supersonic travel. So what does it all mean? Is supersonic travel truly back travel?
That's the million-dollar question. Boom! Supersonic is certainly making waves and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. They're tackling the technological hurdles, aiming to make it more sustainable, and even planning to live stream a historic event.
Right. And they're building these planes, a lot of them, which shows a real commitment to making this a viable form of travel.
Exactly. But as with any groundbreaking technology, there are still hurdles to overcome, both technical and societal. The sonic boom issue, the environmental concerns, and the question of accessibility all need to be addressed.
So it seems like the future of supersonic travel is still being written. And it's going to be a fascinating journey to watch unfold.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe in a few years, we'll be sipping champagne at Mach 1.7, enjoying the view from 60,000 feet.
Now that's a future I can get behind. Cheers to that.
Yeah.
But before we all rush to book our supersonic tickets, I have one last question for you. Remember my, shall we say, eventful landing in that simulator?
Yeah, yes. The infamous simulated crash landing. A tale for the ages.
Well, it made me think, what about safety? I mean, flying at twice the speed of sound. Are there any, unique safety concerns with supersonic travel?
That's a crucial question. And it's one that Boom Supersonic takes very seriously. You have to think about it. At those speeds, even a minor issue could escalate very quickly. So they're incorporating multiple layers of redundancy in their designs, from backup systems to advanced materials that can withstand extreme stress.
So it's like they're building in extra safety measures to account for the increased speed and potential risks.
Exactly. And they're not just relying on their own expertise, they're working closely with regulators like the FAA. To ensure that Overture meets the highest safety standards, it's a rigorous process, but it's essential to build public trust and confidence in this new era of supersonic flight.
That makes sense. It is reassuring to know that safety is a top priority, because let's be honest, even if the tickets were affordable, I wouldn't be jumping on a supersonic flight if I didn't feel safe.
I hear you. And I think that's a key takeaway for our listeners today. Boom, Supersonic is pushing the boundaries of technology and reigniting the dream of supersonic travel. They're addressing the challenges of the past, striving for sustainability, and making safety a paramount concern.
They're not just building a plane, they're building a whole new era of travel.
And what's so exciting is that they're tackling these technical challenges. While keeping sustainability and accessibility in mind, they're really trying to learn from the past to create a better future for supersonic flight.
Exactly. They're thinking about the big picture, not just the thrill of speed. Now we want to hear from you. Would you book a supersonic flight? What are your thoughts on the return of this technology?
Head over to the comments and let us know. We're always up for a good discussion.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.